It is 8:44. Welcome back. An ICE agent charged in Minnesota with firing his gun through a house door, hitting a man in the leg, then lying to justify the shooting, could soon be freed.
And Christian Castro is currently in jail in Texas, where the law says he must be released after 90 days of detention. Minnesota's governor and attorney general are asking a South Texas judge to extradite Castro, but if that judge doesn't, Castro could walk free.
Attorneys representing Texas's governor say the request has not been formally denied, and until the governor makes a decision, it's too soon to involve the courts. Joining us now, our chief legal analyst, Colleen Frodes. You hate to see politics play out in courts, but that's what's happening here. The governor making an argument, trying to use a legal loophole, saying that he's not a fugitive. He was simply assigned to Texas for work. Does that legal argument hold up? That's why Greg Abbott hasn't signed the extradition request.
Yeah, I mean, that's not normally how any of this works. I'll start with that. I mean, there is a charge that is taken out against this individual in the state of Minnesota. When he's in that location, they're believing that they have probable cause to do a number of things, that the crime was committed and that he committed the crime. And then he also lied about committing this crime. And so typically, a person commits a crime in that state, they're arrested in that state. Once they leave that state, whether they know that there's a charge or not, you would technically be listed as a fugitive from that state, because now you're found in another state. That's why we have fugitive warrants. This person, not that you broke out or escaped, but you were charged in one state and now you're found in a different state. And so, yeah, politics coming into this, I think, is something that it seems that Texas Governor Abbott is adding a number of outlining issues that really have nothing to do with this case. He mentioned the Minnesota fraud cases. He mentioned a number of political other issues as to why he mentioned this. He may not be a fugitive, but the law is pretty crystal clear. If you look at case law specifically, Puerto Rico v. Brandit, the Supreme Court held that federal courts have the authority to enforce a governor's obligation, not a desire, but an obligation to follow an extradition order from another state. So he's obligated to sign this extradition order, because right now Minnesota just can't go down there and say, all right, Governor Abbott, you don't want to sign it, I'll send my own officers down there to get them. We don't want that to happen in our legal system. That's why we have this governor's extradition process. I have an issue in my state. I need you to pick them up in your state. You have to give me authority to come to your state. Typically, these things are handled in less than 30 days. We're nearing the 90-day mark, and so it has to be something other than, oh, I just don't feel like signing it, and that's the problem that we're having. But you do bring up a couple other issues that I think the court has to try to figure out before they can move forward.
I mean, is this really a case about the defendant, Castro, or is it more about states and whether or not they can delay or refuse extradition?
Well, a couple of things. It's not the law is crystal clear. The state can attempt to refuse it, but that would be inconsistent with case law, with case precedent, with how we've set up these rules for other states. Because think about why this is put in place. A long time ago, folks would commit a crime and then run across the border to another state and know that you couldn't get them. Okay, Congress reacts and puts in this extradition process where governors can then say, hey, we have a warrant in our state. We will give you the ability to pick up this person in our state, and it will be as if this warrant came from our state. There are no pending charges in Texas. His pending charges is in Minnesota. He has to be taken back to Minnesota. So that the law is pretty clear on that. This is, again, as Julian mentioned, the governor adding an additional wrinkle of politics to a situation that should not be politicized. This individual has been charged with a crime. Allow him to go now face either, innocent till proven guilty, but allow the criminal process to work itself out in Minnesota.
A judge is supposed to come up with their ruling today, but yesterday the U.S. District Judge in this case had brought ripeness into question, saying because we haven't granted this extradition, then this lawsuit is premature. You talked a little bit about this yesterday. Do you agree here?
Well, I have to say that we mentioned ripeness back-to-back days, and I would agree that it isn't ripe. You're asking him to force the governor to do something he's failed to do, and he hasn't failed to do it yet. Now, if he just outrightly says, I will not sign this order, I think then it would be ripe, and then you bring it before the court and say, hey, he's failing to do what this court's already established since the 80s, that a governor has to sign this extradition order. So I think at that moment it would become ripe. The timing issue is the problem. You have also the state law that requires him to be released from jail after 90 days. Well, that 90-day window is about to expire. So typically, as I mentioned before, a governor will sign this in 30 days. So you're 60 days past that moment already. And so now he may be freed. Then Governor Abbott signs the extradition. But now they got to go find this person that's walking around free. I think that adds a number of layers to this. It's not like the case will be over, but it's going to be extremely complicated to get a person that knows they have charges in another state and now force them to come back once you release them.
Yeah, they're also mentioning the proximity to the United States-Mexico border as a problem that he could potentially flee after that. We'll see what happens with this case. Khalif Rose weighing on that for us. Khalif, thank you.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.